Ari, potential playoff implications on a Friday night as Syracuse visits UNLV. We're going to talk about a guy who's one of the most interesting players in the country, and that is UNLV quarterback Hajj-Malik Williams, who was thrust in the role last week when Matthew Sluka, who started the first 3 games for the Rebels, decided to peace out because they had an NIL falling out. There was a dispute. He said, I'm done. I'm redshirting. I'm going somewhere else next year. And Hajj-Malik Williams, who transferred in from Campbell this offseason, came in and lit it up against Fresno State. 59-20 win. Now, here's what's interesting as it relates to our conversation around his Prize Picks number, because we're talking Prize Picks here. Best daily fantasy game in America. Download the app. Use the code Staples when you sign up. You play $5. You get $50 instantly. You're picking squares. So basically, the way you do it is each player has a number attached to a statistical category. You're saying they're going to do more than this or less than this. You pick as few as 2 squares. You can pick more. The more you pick, the higher the potential payout. Hajj-Malik Williams, his square for passing yards against Syracuse is 184.5. His square for rushing yards against Syracuse is 60.5. And you can pick more than or less than. I want to go to that 184.5 because, Ari, in Hajj-Malik Williams' first start, his team won 59-20. He threw for 3 touchdowns. So you would assume that he would have had more than 185 passing yards. He did not. He only threw for 182. Now, it was an incredibly efficient 182 because it was on 13 of 16 passing. But that's, I think, what you got to be careful about with Hajj-Malik Williams is he's going to do some magic on the ground, too. He ran for 119 yards on 12 carries against Fresno State. And we saw when Sluka was playing that the quarterback run game is a massive part of this offense. So the more than 60.5 feels like a better one than the 184.5. And here's my other thing, though. This Syracuse defense has some dudes on it. Fran Brown got to Syracuse. He upgraded the talent. Like they brought in Fadil Diggs, the transfer from Texas A&M. There could be sacks, which could reduce Hajj-Malik Williams' rushing total. So you got to be a little careful with that too.
Yeah, it is kind of tricky because while he is like the America sweetheart in terms of like everybody's rooting for him and the UNLV NIL storyline, like we haven't really seen a lot of him at this level. And now we're going to be seeing him in his first game against a P4 opponent. Now UNLV has 2 wins already over a P4 opponent, but this is the first time Hajj-Malik is going to be playing against one of those. So the talent level, especially with what Fran Brown has been able to do to that defense and Syracuse as a whole, is going to be completely different than what he's faced so far. And even in a 59-14 win, like not making it to 200 yards makes it a little bit murky in terms of like, what do you think he's going to do? So like, I probably would err towards the side of what we know he's going to be able to do no matter what, which is run the football. The passing total number there scares me a little bit, especially considering the fact that the game went about as well as it possibly could have.
But I think that also State. May be a reason why it was down at 182, because the game did go perfectly. Like this was a beautiful 3-phase win for UNLV. Their defense played great. They had a special teams touchdown. A lot of it.
You're saying things going off the rails can help them have to throw more, which then puts them
right. They were kicking Fresno State's butt, so they did not have to throw a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty interesting point. Yeah, like it's like if you're down by 7 late in the third quarter, that means you probably have, more need to get the ball downfield. I think I could buy that.
Well, I'm so fascinated to watch this because, it's interesting talking to people last week, and I couldn't tell if this was somebody saying, hey, we're just trying to make the best of a very odd situation here. And that's why we're saying that the locker room supports Hajj-Malik Williams. That's why we're saying they like him better. I think they might like him better. I think they might like playing with him better. Like it may be, that may be real. And especially you look at what Ricky White did in that game. Ricky White is UNLV's best receiver, legitimate NFL player. He had 10 catches for 127 yards. It was his best game of the season. I think that may be true. And so if that's the case, Hajj-Malik Williams is going to be one of the best stories of the year. And if he can lead them to a win against Syracuse, then it may come down at that point to what can UNLV do when it plays Boise State.
Yeah,
That,
and that's
and then we're talking potential playoff team.
And what better city in the country for that game to take place in, right? Yeah, I cannot wait to watch. Appetizers, Friday night games this week are really exciting. And I got to say that I think I'm even more excited to watch this one than the Oregon-Michigan State one. So, yeah, super excited. The game starts at 8 p.m., which means that my wife will probably be sleeping before the game is over, which means I get that.
It's 8 p.m. Central where Ari is, 9
Yeah,
p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Vegas time.
But she'll be sleeping by 9:30 on Friday because she has long weeks, and then that means Daddy gets to sit out here in the loft and watch the game with some popcorn. I can't wait. It's going to be a good time.
That's tarp off.
Yeah, tarp off.
Little Casamigos Reposado on rocks.
Yeah, laying on your. That's my thing. I got a popcorn bowl to the right, got a little tequila just to sip on. Tarp off, laying on the back. Got the TV on while scrolling Twitter while watching it. That's my happy place.
Heaven. Question is, will Hajj Malik Williams be lighting it up through the air, on the ground, or both?